It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. We're broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. We are delighted to welcome to our round table here in our studios our very good friend, former professor at Vanderbilt and Princeton, scholar extraordinaire, author of The Gay Agenda, Carol Swain. Welcome, Carol.
Thank you so much.
Also, Roger Simon, my former boss at PJTV, Academy Award nominated screenwriter, author, and all-around writer extraordinaire.
Well, thank you. And I'm always intimidated when I'm next to Carol because I think I'm going to be graded down.
You're so kind. But the title of my book is The Gay Affair, Harvard Plagiarism and the Death of Academic Integrity.
Let me stand corrected. I got a check mark on that. It's The Gay Affair. Yeah. And it's not a romance novel.
No,
It sounds like a double entendre, yeah.
Explain why it's not a romance novel, Carol, just briefly.
Well, Claudine Gay was the former president of Harvard University who was deposed. She resigned January 2nd, 2024, and I was among the people she plagiarized.
Yeah, exactly. Among the people you plagiarized. If you move a little closer there, if you would, please, Carol, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm getting the instruction.
Sometimes I think half of the PhD theses were plagiarized. It's not to let her off.
What do you think, Carol?
I don't know. I did original research for mine. It
Well,
was
I would
funded by the National
of
Science
course.
Foundation.
I wasn't a study. But, they're all sitting unread in these libraries, so it's a safe place to take. When you write books in public like we do, you can get caught in a second. But PhD theses are mostly not in public.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, for me, writing a PhD, a thesis, or something like that, I used to check out those books, How to Write a Dissertation, do literature review. They had all the steps, and that's what I followed. and how to cite was among the things that was included in the book. Yeah.
Speaking of citations and speaking of being honest intellectually, have you watched the confirmation hearings in the United States Senate? The Inquisition of Pete Hegseth and his excellent responses.
It is great theater.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So I feel bad because I watched almost all of it, and I'm trying to do my own work, but I just can't take my eyes off it. And the Democratic senators make such fools of themselves. It's unbelievable.
But their constituents are so low information that I don't believe that they recognize that they're lying and they're making fools out of themselves. And has Pete been on this show?
Pete has not been on this show. I don't think so. Yeah.
Now he'll be too busy to be on this show.
He'll be too busy. Although he does live. He does live pretty close to us.
But I don't know if he's going to be at the farm. That I know they have a house now.
Well, there's going to be security concerns.
Tremendous.
He's going to be nominated. He's going to be confirmed.
I think everyone's going to be concerned. They're setting up someone I know pretty well, Kash Patel, to go through a gauntlet, but it's not going to matter because I think the Republican senators will stick together and vote him in.
I want Robert Kennedy confirmed because I believe he's the only one who can address the healthcare crisis, that he really can make America healthy again.
Very, very true.
When you watch, and we played a few clips of Adam Schiff attempting to interrogate Pam Bondi, and their style is so junior high school. And they'll say
a bad junior high school.
But that's all they have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel sorry for them because they choose to be stupid. Fetterman has chosen to. He was supposed to be the one, that had no brain, and he's smarter than all of them.
Well, that may speak for having an intervention in your brain like he had, because he got rewired.
Yeah.
And the rest of them need a rewiring. They should have a stroke or something.
Well, my plan.
Schiff, the idea that they let Schiff into Congress is just almost beyond comprehension.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because you look at you wrote the book about the plagiarizing president of Harvard University. Schiff is a graduate of Harvard Law School. Jamie Raskin is a graduate of Harvard Law School.
Yeah.
These people are moronic. They're idiotic. And yet they have all the prestige.
That's why we need to dethrone the Ivy League, because a lot of the problems affecting our country, whether it's the Supreme Court or wherever the dysfunction is, it's usually people from the Ivy League that led the way.
Yeah,
and how? As a double Ivy Leaguer myself, I can say it.
Well, actually, all three of us are
Yeah,
affiliated with the Ivy
and
League.
my wife and everything.
So I'm a Harvard undergrad guy. Roger, you're a Dartmouth undergrad, Yale grad, and you are
I
a
have
Yale
a
grad.
master's in law from Yale.
So you're an Ivy Leaguer too.
I just credentialed. I decided that since I had a
Maybe
degree
we should all
from
sing from the tables down at Maury's or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have an ad in the Yale Alumni magazine about my book.
That'd be great. So what I think is interesting about all this is, if you look at it, another Ivy Leaguer who is sort of an anti-Ivy League guy is Elon Musk, and it's fascinating because he's looking to hire coders.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw what he put out. So he puts out an ad. Hey, we are looking for coders. Don't send me your resume.
Right.
Don't send me the big companies you've worked for. Don't send me the Ivy League schools you attended. Send me your code.
Yes.
Send me your best code. I love that about Elon Musk.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I think more and more young people are going to be going to different schools. And as I mentioned on here, we're about to start something, and we have to rope Carol into this. Another Substack called the Inoculator, which is going to do that, because what it's going to do is in detail tell people how to go through whatever college in the country with a minimum of bias. So we were going to call out course by course. I mean, it's very exhaustive. Thank God I don't have to do that part. I just have to come out here and market it. But it's a very new approach, because I think we know that Trump is going to be anti-DEI and all that stuff. But there's only so much you can do by legislation. This is going to be by the market. Hopefully what that means is that people are just not going to sign up for those dumb courses anymore.
Carol, but the problem in these academic institutions also is peer pressure and pressure from professors, right?
Well, I tell you that there are a lot of conservative young people on those campuses, and among the professors, there are some that are sympathetic to conservative causes, but they live in fear. And I think that if there was some real leadership at the helm, you would see a lot of people fall in place. And during the time I was in academia and I became more conservative and I was targeted, I can tell you that the secular humanists and many of them were Jewish. They were very supportive. For the most part, they were not leading the Inquisition. Some of them were, but for the most part, they believed in American values.
I did you see this little meme that put together of the Pete Hegseth confirmation hearings, where they had, and they were all of the same sort. They had the questions of Elizabeth Warren, the Democrat from Massachusetts, Gillibrand, the Democrat from New York,
A Dartmouth grad.
Dartmouth, and then Tammy Duckworth, a Democrat from Illinois, and they had one other Democrat, and Hirono from Hawaii.
Yes.
Oh, she's a piece of work.
Unbelievable.
They're embarrassing me. I'm a woman, but they're totally embarrassing me.
The
They're
hanging chat
hysterical.
is how can such obviously stupid propagandists keep getting reelected? And on that note, we'll talk about that with Carol Swain and Roger Simon when we get back.
Now you, Roger Swain.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back, All-Star panelist Carol Swain, All-Star panelist Roger Simon in studio. The hanging Chad question for you, Carol, to start off with. How do these very stupid Democrat senators that you hear embarrass themselves every day in these confirmation hearings, how do they keep getting reelected?
Well, I think they have low information constituents and people that have just been blinded by the propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
So they may be highly educated people.
Certified.
Right.
I don't think they're educated.
They're not educated, but
Yeah.
they are degreed people in some cases, and they are conditioned just to go along with anything that's said and not to question, and some of them may not have learned critical thinking skills. These women are embarrassment to me and womankind.
That's a great way of putting it. Roger?
3 minutes watching The View would give you the same reaction. But it's very interesting, the brainwashing, which is essentially what you're talking about, phenomenon that's gone on in our culture for so long.
Yeah, so long.
I mean, it may be, it's like icebergs break up after a while, and we may be watching the beginning of that and participating in that because just sitting here talking about it.
I believe
helps.
so, and we like to poke fun at AOC, but occasionally she makes a lot of sense, and she seems to be more of a critical thinker at some level than some of the other women.
Well, that's a very low bar.
I know, but I'm going to stand up for her because, she's not quite credentialed the way the others are.
That sounds like a feminism is power statement.
Hey, before we get, I want to talk
She's
about.
young. She's coming along.
Well, that's a good point. The others are ossified,
Right.
or as I say, frozen in 2018, or as
Like
you say,
Corona is the most ossified person you'd ever see.
oh my gosh, she's not very bright.
No.
I mean, just
Wow.
Okay, before we get to your plans for the inauguration, an American icon, this is breaking news, an American icon has passed away. Just a little bit outside, the great Bob Uecker, the broadcaster, 90, died. He was a broadcaster for years and years and years and was well known for all those Miller Lite commercials. Just passed away. We are going to miss Bob Uecker. Okay, back to what you're doing for inauguration. Carol, what are you doing?
I'm leaving. Well, I mean, I have a friend that tells me I shouldn't tell all my business, but
Let's hear it all. Come on. We want to hear it all.
I'm going to be in Washington for several days, and on Sunday I'm speaking at a brunch for the Mighty American Strike Force and the MAHA group that they are together in the same room, Democrats and Republicans, and I'm going to talk about basically how to make America strong through bipartisanship and just the things that unite us. And I last night, as preparation, I read the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and chapters of my book, Be the People, Called to Reclaim America's Faith and Promise.
Very
And I
good.
reviewed that because I think that there are some values that unite Americans, and that the re-election of Trump, people came together in blue states, and that's significant, and any lasting change is going to come about because we have a united vision of where we want to go as a nation.
Roger, that's a very interesting point. Some people might sort of roll their eyes when they say bipartisanship because the regime Democrats are just propaganda hacks. But let's point this out, which I think is very interesting here. The overwhelming victory of Trump has brought a number of people sort of like in the middle who are persuadable. Not all of them, not the party of the Democrats, but let me give you an example. Mark Zuckerberg gave $400 million to that dark money group to undermine the election of 2020. Now, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos went down to Mar-a-Lago, and they're going to be in the inauguration. I think what you're seeing is, on the margin, some former Democrats are now starting to move over towards America First. Your thoughts, Roger?
Some of that is self-interest, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys are the biggest businessmen in the world. On the other hand, so it is. Excuse me. And it's hard to parse it really because you can't tell exactly how authentic. Well, I think with Musk, it's pretty authentic.
Musk is authentic.
Yeah, he's a different.
Have
animal.
you had a chance to talk to Elon Musk?
No, but he may be at the Texas Ball. When I think about Zuckerberg, he is youngish, and after Trump, survived the first assassination attempt,
Yeah.
and he stood up with blood.
Fight.
Yeah, and that's when Mark Zuckerberg first said something positive about Trump. And I kind of think that we need to give people space to change. I was in my 40s when I left the Democratic Party, and so AOC.
How about me?
Yeah,
I was to the left of everybody.
Yeah, give people
Space to change. I like that phrase.
Yeah, I do too. If you don't,
I made that up.
They're not going to
Did you just
change
make it
if
up
you
right
don't.
now?
Yeah, you can have it if you need it.
Okay, look, everybody
Also,
out there.
they're not going to change without the space.
Space to change. I love that phrase. Carol, you
It's
probably
not
ought to
gonna be-
trademark it.
No, it's not. It's okay. People can have that one. I just don't like them taking copious parts of my.
I'll give it out to everybody but Hamas.
Now you've got an interesting set of adventures coming up here, Roger. Tell us about that.
Well, instead of the inauguration, I'm going to be watching it on TV while I'm packing. I'm going to Israel for several reasons, but one of which is I'm working on a novel that's set there in the post-October 7th period. So I want to be a little bit authentic in having been there. Also, I have many friends there, and I want to check in on the situation. And it turns out I'm going right in the midst of this ceasefire, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, I've written a piece for my Substack coming out. It just came out and will be on RCP tonight, I think, in which I define myself as a ceasefire-ophrenic, meaning the mixed feelings one has about this are tremendous because who could not sympathize with however many people are able to get out of Gaza.
The report of the hostages taken on October 7th, today now, almost a year and a half later, they have at least 98 that they can account for, and then maybe a couple dozen others. We don't know how many are dead, how many are alive.
Nobody knows. In fact, nobody really knows how many are left. But if anybody could get out, can you imagine being there in one of those tunnels 467 days?
Oh, it's
it's
an
hard to wrap
impossibility
to wrap your
concept.
mind unless you experienced it.
Well, the trauma that those people would have experienced, and like Corrie ten Boom, I think that God is the only one that can help people survive that. Who's the guy? Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl is
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
You're
that's-
talking about my favorite book. Virtually.
Yeah, I mean that people can survive that kind of situation.
He talks about surviving the Holocaust. Yeah.
And it just takes God and just.
It's a Holocaust-like experience for those
Exactly.
hostages.
And it's having a purpose in life, which is what Frankl writes about. But
that helped him survive it.
Yeah, but so I'm going there to really get a handle on that, and at the same time try to figure out and write about, whether this ceasefire is real. I mean, the leaders of Hamas are rejoicing already. I mean, they want to do it again.
So it's a bad deal, but probably the right thing to do, it seems to me, because they've got these hostages. They claim they're going to release 33. We don't know how many are alive or dead.
Why
There's
wouldn't
some
they just
reports.
release them all?
Well, because they're evil.
Because
they're evil.
that's all they have.
That's all they have. And it's like, they're releasing 50 to 100, hardened criminals in return. But I think I'm not an expert on this, but I think it would seem to me, if Israel, you get the deal, you get these 33 out, it'll blow up. That deal this is really the last shot to get anybody out.
Well, they're incapable of honoring their word.
Oh, they won't.
Yeah,
exactly.
But the bottom line is, with Trump in charge, Israel has an ally and a friend.
Oh, and that's the whole thing.
That's the whole point.
This never happened without Trump. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, that Biden was claiming some credit.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it's embarrassing.
Well, let Biden claim credit for it, because this one may turn out to be a disaster and unravel very quickly.
It's in the process thereof.
Handle it. Let Biden have it. He's president right now.
When we come back, we're going to be joined by my very good friend, great journalist, Matt Boyle of Breitbart. He's going to give us the inside scoop on the Trump agenda starting January 20th. Back with Matt Boyle after this.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall and Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. In studio, All-Star panelist Carol Swain, All-Star panelist Roger Simon. On our newsmaker line right now, the great political reporter at Breitbart, Matt Boyle. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, Mike. How's it going, sir?
Well, we are excited to hear what is the Trump action plan going to be on the day he's inaugurated, 4 days from today, on January 20th, as the 47th president of the United States. What can you tell us about that afternoon and the following day?
Yeah, well, I don't look. I think President Trump has a lot of things in store, right? Like probably hundreds of executive actions, and possibly even signing the Lake and Riley Act into law, which is very likely going to be through Congress by that point. So we'll see. Which is a huge deal, by the way, to see a president sign a bill into law on their first day or two or their first week in office, because usually it takes longer for bills to pass Congress because, it's Congress. But they're being a little bit tight-lipped about it on the Trump team right now, rightfully so. Like, Trump likes to do shock and awe. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But look, I've been back in Washington for the last several days now, and I'm going to be up here a lot over the course of the year. I can tell you that there's already a sea change in the mentality and in the way that this town works and that the world is operating, and across the political spectrum, and frankly around the world. I've had conversations with ambassadors from foreign countries. Everybody is excited worldwide. I'm calling it Planet Trump. All right, like they're literally excited that Donald Trump is coming back to the White House. They've been so bored out of their minds, and America's been just like, it's like we've been stuck in neutral the last 4 years, right? Like, or even in reverse, right? Like under Joe Biden. Everybody knows with Trump back in the White House, we're going on offense. It's like the 2016 New England Patriots, all right? Like they're about to go win Super Bowls. Tom Brady knows what he's doing, right? Donald Trump knows what he's doing. This is a much more professional, serious, organized MAGA America First movement, and they know how to get things done. They know where the bodies are buried. They know what to do and how to do it. And frankly, my conversations with people around the president and with people, top leaders in Congress on both sides of Capitol Hill, they're ready to rock and roll. And so we're so excited about this. It's going to be awesome.
Have you watched the confirmation hearings? Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, Marco Rubio, they seem to have been really hitting it out of the park, and the Democrats seem frozen in ancient history. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So there's an interesting thing that President Trump looks for in all of these people. What is the commonality between every single one of these cabinet picks, with rare exception, if any exception, is that they're all excellent communicators. Right? Like, so what they're able to do is whenever the Democrats try to cook up some kind of a nonsense thing, they know how to diffuse it very quickly. So what is the commonality between all of them? They're excellent communicators. They know how to work the room on TV. They know how to work the media. And I think that you're going to see that extend beyond their actual confirmations. Again, we've been kind of waiting it out during the course of the transition because a lot of these people can't go out there and do interviews and press and appear on talk radio and stuff during their confirmation process because they don't want to do anything or say anything that could jeopardize their confirmation. Now, Pete Hegseth is kind of the exception to the rule in that he did a big Megyn Kelly interview and he started engaging and fighting back because of the media smears, and he totally turned that around. But as soon as these people get confirmed, I think you are going to see them spread the gospel of Donald Trump and America First across the Washington, D.C., across the United States, and around the world, right? Like, and you're seeing that with Rubio, you're seeing that with Bondi, you're seeing that with Hegseth, you're seeing that with Bessent today, Burgum today, right? Like, I mean, they're all excellent communicators, and you're going to see them. It's going to be like the apostles of America First, right? They're going to go take the gospel out there around the world and totally change the mentality of the way we talk about politics, the way we talk about public policy. And I think that that's going to be the lasting legacy of Donald Trump here, is that he won the war, right? The globalists have been defeated. The New World Order is over, right? Like, we are returning to America First, and it's like globalism is dead. It's not just dying, it's dead. It's over. Now we're going to win, and we're going to implement this vision.
Any gossip, Matt, on whether it's going to be one bill or two, whether it's going to be that global bill, try to push everything through at once, or it's going to be first the border?
Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. Right? It doesn't matter to me how they get it done.
Doesn't matter to
Right?
me
Like,
either, but I was just asking.
All these establishment media people obsessed with, like, this process or that process. Who gives a crap, right? Like, I don't care. I don't
Well, as
care
long
if
as
they
they
do it
both
in
pass.
50 bills. Right. I don't care if they do it in 50 bills, 500 bills, or one bill. It doesn't matter to me as long as they get it done.
Man.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, right? Like, and I think that's where the vast majority of Americans are. So nobody cares. That whole debate is the establishment media and the Democrats and the left trying to pick apart and cause division among President Trump supporters on Capitol Hill. Look, Capitol Hill is not going to be as relevant over the course of the next 4 years as it has been in the past, in that there's three major shots here with reconciliation between now and the midterm elections for them to get stuff done. Other than that, they'll take what they can from Congress, but for the most part, the real discussion is going to be happening downtown at the White House and around the federal agencies and departments and worldwide, right? Like, so that's where the real discussion's happening. The culture war has been won, right? Andrew Breitbart always talked about it. Yeah.
Carol Swain has a question for you, Matt.
This is Carol Swain. I don't have a question. I have a comment. I think that you are quite the young cheerleader. And so I applaud your enthusiasm, and I hope it's contagious.
Well, thank you. Like, but what we're going to try to do here is, I think that the establishment media has lost all of their relevance, right? Like, and so I think they're totally irrelevant. They're like a little pack of hyenas running around Capitol Hill. Nobody cares what they think anymore. It's over, right? Like, we've won the war. Andrew Breitbart always talked about how culture is upstream from politics. Well, we've won the culture war. We've got Carrie Underwood and Billy Ray Cyrus and Kid Rock coming in to play the Trump inauguration and the rally and so on and so forth beforehand. The fact is that it's cool now to be a Trump supporter. You've got people around the world. I heard this story this morning. I can't believe it. I'll have to see, if it all pans out. But apparently in South Korea, they're literally doing, YMCA Trump dances.
Sure.
Yes,
right
I saw
now,
that.
right? Like, and apparently this is a thing around the world. I'm telling you, I've had conversations in the last few days with ambassadors. Everybody's trying to figure out how do they communicate with America First and Trump. They're changing their messages everywhere. We've won the war. Now it's about implementing the policy and seeing it through. And so that's where we're at. I'm telling you, we're the other side, the globalists, they've been conquered. They've been defeated. It's not like there still might be pockets of resistance, like the Japanese that were still fighting World War II on some random island.
That's a very good comparison, because
Right?
when I read how the mainstream media is covering the incoming Trump administration, I think, did they miss what happened in the election? Did they miss the change in the country? Apparently so. Your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, the country's been totally changed, right? Like, there's nothing left for them, right? This is way bigger than 2016. 2016 was, look, Trump won a decisive election in 2016, right? Like, but it was a close fight, and Hillary won the popular vote. He won the electoral college. This was the most decisive election we've had in modern times. This signals a total change in where the country is and where the country wants to go. And frankly, the message to the Democrats is lay down your arms and start doing stuff with the Republicans on things that are common sense that Donald Trump supports. And the message to the Republicans is you better get with the program, guys, and start getting stuff done.
Yeah, exactly.
They may be the more dangerous ones at this point.
Yeah.
The Trump Republicans are more dangerous, actually, and
How
potential
many-
for sabotage.
How many Republicans now would you call, either in the House or the Senate, sort of secret never Trumpers? It's a diminishing number, but
it's diminishing, but they're still there. And look, you have 53 Republicans in the Senate. Give or take the margins and vacancies and so on and so forth, around 220, 221 or something like that in the House once they fill all the vacant seats. I would put it at like a handful in the House and a handful in the Senate, but the fact is that they're still there, and we got to keep eyes on them and keep fighting them. But the fact is that every time there's another opportunity, another election, we need to take advantage of it and get good candidates in. There are reports out there. I saw a report yesterday that President Trump is planning to have $500 million in his political campaign. He's going to keep his campaign active and his campaign coffers going. He's going to engage going into the midterms. So, like, this ain't over, guys, right?
Yeah.
Like, but the fact is that I think the vast majority of the problems that you're going to see from Republicans isn't going to be like, deliberate subterfuge, right? Like, it's going to be more like incompetence, right? Like, a lot of Republicans are good, decent, honest people, but they don't get it yet, right? Like, they need to get it, right? Like, and we're going to keep teaching them, right? Like, they're learning a little bit at a time.
Last question
Right?
for
I've
you.
had some great conversations across the board.
Last question for you, Matt. Will all of the major nominees for cabinet posts by Donald Trump, will they all be confirmed?
I believe so. I'm not entirely certain on a couple of them yet, but Pete Hegseth has the votes now, barring any last-second surprises with the announcement last night of the new senator from Utah, John Curtis, that he will be supporting Hegseth. So we believe he'll get through. We're tracking what's happening with Tulsi and RFK, and those processes will happen a little bit later. I believe Kristi Nolan won't have any issues. I believe, across the board, I think.
What about
they're all gonna
Cash?
get
What
through.
about Cash?
Cash Patel of the FBI.
I believe Cash Patel will get confirmed.
Yeah, I think
don't
so,
have
too.
any reason to believe that won't happen. In fact, he's gotten broader support right away than any of these other ones did. And I think
Really?
it's because his resume is, he's overqualified for the position.
Oh,
Wow.
we know
that.
his qualifications.
He's
Is
a
a
public defender,
question
He's an attorney.
fear
He
of
was,
him.
Yeah.
Matt, thanks so much for joining us today. And by the way, when are you going up to Greenland?
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
Have you bought
When
any
President
property
Trump buys
there?
it, maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll go with him.
All right. Hey, thanks, Matt. Thanks so much. Great report, as always.
You bet. Anytime.
All right. We'll be back with more with Carol Swain and Roger Simon after the break.
Hey, I'm Governor Bill Lee, and I want to talk to you about an important education bill in Tennessee. Everyone knows that education has the power to change the trajectory of a child's life forever. And anyone who's raised a child knows that each one's different in their educational needs, and their learning styles, and their talents. The fact is, parents know their own children best. They know what's best for their education and their future. That's why I'm here to talk to you about Tennessee's Education Freedom Act. It empowers parents across our state to use their tax dollars to choose the school that allows their child to thrive, regardless of zip code or income, all while making significant investments in Tennessee's public education. If you want to learn how you can help make the Education Freedom Act a reality in Tennessee, go to educationfreedomact.com and write or call your state representatives. It's educationfreedomact.com.
This ad is paid for by Job Creators Network.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. Roger Simon, Carol Swain in studio. Well, TikTok goes the clock in many ways, right? We now are 3 days. No, we're 4 days and 9 minutes and 30 seconds until Donald Trump is inaugurated as the 47th president. It can't happen soon enough. But speaking of TikTok, they have a clock. Their clock is going to end on Sunday because of a law passed by Congress, which they said you've got 270 days to either shut down or sell TikTok, which is owned 85% by the Chinese Communist Party, basically, through ByteDance. And they just haven't sold it. They claim it's because, well, all the algorithms are connected to stuff in China. That sounds like a lame excuse. They don't want to sell it. They're going to have to sell it or it'd be shut down. Now, Donald Trump has become a bit of a fan of TikTok because it was very effective with young people.
During the campaign.
Yeah. Now, this is some breaking news. TikTok CEO Xiao Chu, who looks like he's about 30 years old, maybe 29, or maybe he started shaving a couple days ago, is expected to attend Trump's inauguration and sit next to Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. Meanwhile, I know, Roger, you're cracking up about this, aren't you? Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is now going to have to decide if the law, which is the law of the land, will be followed. And in theory, TikTok could be shut down on Sunday.
Unless Musk buys it first.
Well, there's only one bid out there, apparently. It's like Kevin O'Leary. And I heard him talk, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. You see him on Shark Tank. I like that guy, by the way.
He's interesting.
He's an interesting fellow, but he is a Canadian.
Yeah.
And but very successful in business. He said he's been working with a guy by the name of Frank McCourt. Remember that name? He was formerly an owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. McCourt has been working with the Democrats, and O'Leary's been working with the Republicans to try to force ByteDance, the Chinese Communist Party owner of TikTok, to sell to them for $20 billion.
Yeah, which is theoretically a bargain. I don't know. Those numbers are so big, I have no...
Carol, your thoughts on TikTok and the clock as we approach the deadline and the inauguration?
Well, I think that if it's totally or almost owned by the Chinese Communist Party, that it needs to be shut down and or sold to someone that we can trust. And Elon Musk, his name has come up as a potential buyer.
Mm-hmm.
I would be on board with that.
But your main point, which I agree with, by the way, there's no way that TikTok, which is very successful because they've got these really clever algorithms and these clever videos, very popular among young people, but there's no way. They're collecting data.
Oh, yeah.
The Chinese Communist Party, they
know everything about all of us.
Every American. They shouldn't.
I'm more concerned about the fact that until Trump changes this, something like 96% of prescription drugs are manufactured in China.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so that's dangerous, and they supply medications to the U.S. military. To me, that's more serious. And how did that happen?
Well, thanks
China-
George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton.
It's greed.
Yeah,
is the
George
answer.
W., the hedge fund guys in Wall Street.
Yeah, everything was cheaper to be made in China, and nobody paid attention.
Now,
Is that why there's so much in our food that's banned in other countries? Other countries do a better job of taking care of
Absolutely.
the products.
Yeah.
Why is America allowing its citizens to be poisoned through the food and the medicine?
Greed again.
yeah,
Greed again.
I think that's
You
that's
know,
why Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
That's why he has
is
to
going to be
confirmed.
Yes.
so interesting, that confirmation hearing. I think he's going to dominate in the same way Hegseth and Bondi have.
Oh, even more, because the reason is that none of those senators have much scientific knowledge. And I interviewed him for Epoch Times. And I spent almost a full day with him.
Yeah.
And the guy is really smart.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done his homework.
Mm-hmm.
That his book on Fauci, is so long no one can get through it.
And
I
detail,
mean, I read a good deal of it.
footnotes, fact
I
based.
mean,
He's so passionate. I mean, he's called to do this. When someone's called to do something, you can't
Pay
stop 'em.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
So,
absolutely right.
I will tell you though that I'm a little concerned about the way Donald Trump is looking at TikTok right now. The law is the law, and the Chinese communists have been gaming it. They coulda, woulda, shoulda. They should have sold it by now. They had
Exactly.
270 days, and so Trump, because he looks and said, he said, I won the youth vote because of TikTok. It's true, actually. TikTok helped him.
It certainly helped him. Yeah.
I think it was more involved if he wants to think it was just TikTok.
Well, TikTok helped him, I think.
Yeah,
A lot of things helped him.
Yeah, a lot of things help, and we'll never know how much what. But I agree with you, Michael, that they should. I agree that they should follow the law here.
They should follow.
I predicted the court will.
I think what the court might do, and we'll learn momentarily, the court might say, okay, we'll give you 90 more days, but that's it.
That seems reasonable.
It seems reasonable to me. Now, Trump is trying to do something like that via executive order, but, Mr. President, it's a law, and you can't change the law by executive order.
It bothers me how executive orders have been abused, and
I
it's
agree.
gotten worse and worse and worse. And so if you want to make lasting change in America, you need to work with Congress and pass laws.
Here's the thing, though. Trump is always the negotiator. So this thing about the executive order, I guess... I think it's probably a message to the Supreme Court.
I would say.
Give me another 90 days.
Loud and clear.
Yeah.
But
sell it to
I agree
Americans.
with Carol that that it's become like it's metastasized.
We are out of time.
Oh,
Carol
no.
Swain, Roger
what
Simon.
fun.
Thank you so much for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Well, I'll see you in Tel Aviv.
In Tel Aviv. Up next, the Tennessee Bonus Hour, and Neil McCabe joins us. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Our website, TennesseeStar.com, and we'll be back after the news.